Hey everyone, welcome to another stream of this last day that we have over here at Global Hack Week featuring AI and ML. I know it's been a while since we all seen each other since the last stream. I think it was the last one was about the AI chatbot part. And I think that got people really excited because we got to publish our application and we also we created our own AI chatbot, like a simple version, and then we created like the version with the rack system, which was pretty cool as well. I know it's Wednesday. I know the hour it's kind of like in the middle of the day for some of us, but we will try to do our best and finish the project that we started on part one of the stream. I saw a lot of people were asking about the part two. I know the best thing will have been to have it like kind of like after the part one, right away. But we had some issues there, and it has to be rescheduled for Wednesday, which is today. This is 3 p.m. For me, which is Central Standard Time, but it might be night for, or even like midnight for other people as well. But well, before we start, don't forget to check in on the link that I sent over on the chat. I know we're almost done with all of our streams, and well, of course, you want to get your final points, and we all want to get the amazing swag that MLH has for us. So don't forget to check in and make sure you're registered for the event. So before we start, I will give just a brief recap on what we were doing, the project from part one, and I will do my best so we can all catch up to where we are, like at which point we were. What else? I will also share with you the GitHub where the code from last session is, in case you want to, well, just check it out. I mean, On last session, we basically spent like an hour talking about water embeddings and a little bit about the maths behind, and it was a very interactive stream. There was a lot of conversation going on the chat about different mathematical techniques to obtain the similarity in between the different vector embeddings. So hopefully for this session, we all kind of know what we're talking about. Even though I will make it beginner friendly as always, so we can all catch up and be on the same page. What else? We saw that, which was like 1 hour of explanation, and on the part one, which is already posted on the YouTube channel. And then for the last hour, we started seeing the basics on Streamlit because honestly they were like basics, so nothing to worry about. And we designed a cute pink dashboard with questions related, not very. It was Valentine's style, but the questions were more like focused in technology. And we got some hacker recommendations on the chat about the questions that we should post over there. So before we start with the coding part, because I'm just going to go directly into explaining just enough to understand what we're doing, and then after that we're going to proceed with the code with the project. It was not a script. I would say it was a solid project that we were creating on Python. And for the recommendation system, we will be using cosine similarity, which is what I explained on part one. If you were not there for part one, still I will explain it. Very, very in simpler terms, so you can just get like the basics of it. All right, so let me just find the GitHub at first, because it's the one that I will be sharing with you today. And let me change my screen so you can all see it as well. Let me add this. Awesome. There we are. So I will share the repository that we created on last session. Let's see this one over here, and it's nice. It has 7 stars. Awesome. There's a lot of love with this repository. And here is the part one of the YouTube recording. This is a cool one in case you want to, see more of the technical side of how things work. We didn't saw much of code. It was mostly a really nice slides presentation about what embeddings are, and then we were able to generate our own embeddings on Google Colab. And finally, we created the dashboard on Streamlit, which is basically the code that we have over here. So we created like the homepage, and we also ran the application and added a config file so we can have a pink background. And it was just a simple script for showing an image, a subheader, some text inputs with the different categories that we have, and then finally the submit button about this. So um let me share this with you on the chat as well, so you can all visit this, and you can start cloning that repository, so we can all be on the same part. I will do that as well. Just give me a moment, so I start setting up this before I share a screen again with you. Yes, so go ahead if you would like to clone the repository, or what I will recommend is for you to create a new repository and then just copy paste the homepage script, because it's a very simple script, so it's not much what you will be creating over there. And then after that, let me I will go to the slides so you can see where to access them in case you have questions or in general. So these are the slides. They are on the README as well. And this was a really nice presentation. It was very comprehensive. Honestly, if you would like to see something that summarizes everything, I will recommend you. Um, to stay with this one, with the first slide that I placed at the beginning. So, as a brief recap of what we will be doing today, now, you know, actually implementing that into the coding part, we will be, storing the different questions that we created on our formula, on our formulary. So, for example, what is your favorite keyboard? What is your favorite keycap? Questions like that, questions for someone to answer. And then those questions individually will be stored in different vector arrays as embeddings. And if we remember from last session, an embedding is basically a numerical representation of a sentence or a word. And we also saw different embedding models from different companies. The one that we will be using today, I think I also posted that on the Discord as well, is an embedding model from OpenAI. So we will be doing using that embedding model. And after having our vectors, we will be storing these vectors on a MongoDB database along with the answers for our formulary. And then after that, using cosine similarity, using a already created function from sklearn, we will be obtaining the scores, and we will be displaying, the best match for the person that answers the form. So that's why it's kind of like Valentine's style with technology, because the questions are related with technology, but you actually get a match of someone who has a similar profile as yours. So, if you're looking for a friend or someone to chat with about similar tastes, then this project will be definitely for you. And the cool part about the project that we are building today, or well, finishing today, is that you have the questions and you can change the questions however you want. You can make them whatever you want them to be, and it won't matter. I mean, as long as you have text and you have someone write an answer in your formulary, then you will get a match, because they then after they are created into the translated into the embedded format, then there are just numbers. And when we have numbers, we can actually perform math calculations towards these numbers, and that's why it's very easy to find a similarity in between different profiles. So perhaps this first sentence is it's me, and then this other sentence, it's hacker number one, and then this is hacker number two. And when we go through the embedding model, and then we perform the cosine similarity, which is a mathematical formula to find similarity in between different vectors, we get that perhaps I am very similar to hacker number one, and hacker number two is like, it's like over here, with a not very similar profile. But my goal here today is that we can get a match as similar as possible, and we will be trying it out, because I have done this similarly with other projects using different algorithms, and sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. So hopefully we will get it working today, and if not, we will try our best to make it work. What else? We will also be we will be printing the score, because when you perform a similarity in between two different vectors or two different persons, if you would like to see it as a direct example, you get like a numerical score. So for example, it would be like 0.76 of match. And yes, you basically get a score of how similar you are to the persons that you are compared with. So, if you would like to see something that summarizes the whole process that we will be doing today, stay with this diagram. This diagram basically explains everything that we are going to be doing. And while we are coding the different methods that we will be needing, I will remind you, like, oh, right now we are generating the embedding model. And then, oh, right now we are using the formula to actually get the responses. So let me go to the last slide that we have over here that we covered, because this one is also important. This is a math formula that we will be using to obtain the similarity in between all of our profiles on the database. It's called cosine similarity. If you search this online, you will get many things that are related to recommendation systems and matching between different profiles, like movie matching, book matching, news article matching, a lot of things that involve recommendation systems. So that's why I decided to go for this one. There are two more that are also very helpful. We have dot product, which is also another form of recommendation system, and then we also have Euclidean distance. It's like a formal name, but Euclidean distance is basically, the distance between vectors. Everything that we will be covering today and everything related to LLMs and embeddings has to do with vectors. So if you would like to learn more about that, what's before this mathematical formula, go ahead and see part one of the stream. I explain it there really really deeply, trying to keep it with the basics, but still trying to be a little bit more advanced for people with more experience. So this is the formula. It's very simple actually. You are dealing with numbers. So A and B are two different numbers. You perform a dot product operation and then you divide it by the magnitude or length of the vectors. And the output that you will get will be in between -1 and 1. So it will always be something from -1 and 1. If you get a different thing, then perhaps your embedding model that you're using is, I wouldn't say corrupted, but it's not aligned correctly. Yeah, because just when I was actually like I was like 4 days ago in my robotics team, we were working, or we are currently working on a web app for Valentine's Day. And the team was that basically you filled out the forms on our web app and you get a match for Valentine's Day. If you are looking for a friend, if you're looking for something more romantic relationship, or something more just to talk with someone. So we have like the different sections that you can choose, and you also had like several questions. And then what we did is that we sent that form out and we built an algorithm, a little bit kind of more complex than what we'll be doing today, because right now we only have like 2 hours to do it and not like a whole team of 5 people to work on that project. So yes, I mean, I will tell you how that goes. Honestly, it's a tradition in our robotics team to create that matching algorithm between the people from our university, and it's very popular. I think right now we have like over 200 responses on the form. It's very funny. I was very involved on creating that platform, at least the part of the embeddings, because I don't like the part of the signing the platform and authentication of users, and then like create making it pretty for people to actually enter and fill out the form. All of the marketing propaganda that we had to do online for people to actually get to fill the form. And we set up a deadline for like the 13th of February, and then on that date we will see the database that it's on MongoDB as well. And we use also an embedding model from OpenAI as well. And we already have the algorithm created that has like two different parts. So I'm basically going to spoil it to you, because you are interesting, and you will understand kind of like what I'm talking about. And what it basically does, the algorithm, is that it's like half and half. So half of the score you get it from the cosine similarity, and that basically gives you like a weight, if you would like to see it as graphs. That's kind of like a bit of technical language. But yes, you basically get half of the algorithm done by the cosine similarity score, and then the other half is just done basically by ranking. So the multiple choice questions, each one gets points assigned, and depending on the person, we match like both, like 50-50, and then that's how we make the match. So we don't rely like 100% on the embeddings. We also have like multiple choice question and answer. I'm pretty sure I'll only be matched with my laptop. I mean, the formulary that we will be doing today is for people who are in the hacking community. So it is fun. We actually design the questions on last stream, but I will be hearing new recommendations from this stream as well. If you would like to add something to our nice forms, or pizza, I could also be matched with that. Yeah, but not chocolate pizza, right? Because that one you don't like. So yes. Well, that's all for me, at least for the explanation part. Yes. So cause and similarity, it's the I wouldn't say algorithm because it's not an algorithm. It's a math formula. So it's a straight up math formula. You can see it in here. Very simple. This basically gives you a score in between the two profiles that you are comparing. So yes, that's the math behind our recommendation system, and the steps that we will be following are basically these ones. So sentence, embedding model, input the embeddings on MongoDB. MongoDB connects with skitlearn, and then skitlearn gives us a score in between the persons, and then you get matched with the hacker that has a similar profile to yours. Awesome. Question: what pizza toppings do you like? If they answer pineapple, just tell them you will never get any. That's funny. So, my favorite topping, it's I think it's in Mexico it's called carne molida, but I've seen it in the US and other like English spoken places where they call it Italian meat, which is like tiny bit pieces of meat. That's my favorite one. I like that one very much, and also the how do you call, like the border of the pizza, it has like the crust. I don't know if it's called that way, but that it's filled with cheese. I like my crust filled with cheese. That's something that I enjoy very much. All right, so let's go back to the GitHub, and I hope you all already created your own GitHub repository, or if not, you can just open a new tab on BS Code, and you will be getting you can just copy paste basically this file over here that's called home.py, and it has a title for the page, an image, a subheader, and the formulary questions, and then just a button that says submit. And this is just a folder for configuration that you also have to create, a folder called .streamlit, and then inside of that another file called config.toml. This is not mandatory. This is only if you would like to add a background color, if you would like to edit the font of your page, make it more stylish. I actually showed hackers how to add this because we wanted to look Valentine's styled. So we added the color pink, and it looks very nice actually. I will show you in a second how to run this script. Just give me a moment so I can also be seeing the chat as well as we are coding this. Let's see. There we go. Now I can see you all. Yes, shift cheese stuffed crust is good. That is so true. I agree 100% with what you're saying. I would say that's my favorite combination of pizza. I'll just clone your repo. Yeah, go ahead. Just keep in mind that when you would like to deploy your application on a Streamlit, you will have to create your own repository, or just make a copy of all the codes. At least that's what I recommend hackers to do when they just want to go over and clone my repository. Okay, so let's go ahead and let me actually delete this. We're still not there. Mm-mm-mm. Awesome. Here we are. So mandatory things for you to have. Just the home the home file. You can call it whatever you want. It doesn't have to be mandatory home.py. It can be any name that you would like. What else? This is basically um, the script that is on the GitHub. If you can see, we just import Streamlit. We add a title to our page. Then we add a nice, cute image of some penguins. It's just a URL that I copied online. Feel free to choose any image that you would like. And let me make this bigger because I think it's very small. I think that's better. Awesome. Then we have a subheader. Fill the questions below to get your techie match. And then we have some questions: favorite coffee, favorite geek app, programming language, text editor, favorite snack, favorite browser. Some general questions. I actually was thinking on adding some three more questions. One, perhaps, a general description of yourself, because that will help the embeddings a lot. Because probably I'm not very sure how it works when, for example, you for programming language, like if you place like C++ and C sharp, um, I'm not very sure how the embeddings will work in there. That's probably a nice thing to research about. All right, and then this is just a button that says submit, and oh, what is this? Oh, that's my team's. I'm sorry. And then just displays a success message if the match has been found. In case you have not filled the questions, then it just gets you a warning, basically. Awesome. How about B or Emacs? Not very sure. Not very sure. I mean, it would work similarly, I guess. All right. So before we start writing the necessary code that we will be needing, we need some to fetch some keys before. So I will share my OpenAI key with you on the chat so you can run the code for the embeddings model. But you would need to generate your own MongoDB credentials, and I will show you how in just a moment. And all those secret things, we're going to store them on this file that is called secrets.toml. And you can see it. This is specifically a password that I generated for the stream. Also, the OpenAI key, it is specifically for the stream. So no worries on you all seeing these credentials. I mean, normally you wouldn't show these to people on your GitHub. Like, you have to add this file to the git ignore, which is something that we will do as well. So yes, we need to fetch these three things from MongoDB. And then this other key I will share with you on the chat once we do the MongoDB part. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to MongoDB. So let me share you with you the direct link for Mongo. Um, Over there, if you already have an account, feel free to log in. If you don't, then create a new account. I will give some 2 minutes while you all start signing in. I will sign in just to show you the screen where you should end up with once you sign in or sign up. There we go. So this is kind of like what you should be seeing. I believe people who have never used MongoDB, then you will have to create a new cluster, and I will show you how to do that as well. Oh, I actually want to go to the main page. There we go. So I'll stay here just a few minutes for everyone to log in. Few more minutes. I'll be using actually my regular account, so you might see other collections over there, but we will be creating our own collection. If you are familiar with relational databases like SQL, SQLite, Postgres, all of those, then you kind of have an idea what a database is and how you make the queries and how information is stored in different tables, and you have the different fields for your different tables. In MongoDB, it is a non-relational database, so each table, if you would like to see it that way, is not related with the other table. So you basically, in MongoDB, you have your documents and you have your collections. So the collection is kind of like the table. If you would like to see a direct example from SQL, and then inside each collection you have different like uh, documents. So a collection is composed of documents, and each document is basically an object. So when you store something in MongoDB, it's basically like you store it in a object form. So if you're familiar with object-oriented programming, then this will be very familiar to you when you see how information is stored in MongoDB, because it's stored in a JSON format. So you have a key and you have a value, and then you have an object ID, because that document is basically an object that describes something like a person, like a response, whatever you're working with. All right, so I think we all are ready to proceed. So once you are on the MongoDB dashboard, in case you are new and you have never created a cluster, MongoDB offers you the possibility to create one free cluster. So it's basically like one free instance running forever for free. If you go to clusters over here, you can create a new one. I already have one created, which is the basic one, the free one that I have that I use for everything. But if you are new and you have never used MongoDB, you can go ahead and just create a new one. In my case, as I already used my free one, it only offers me paid options. But in your case, if you are new to MongoDB, you should be seeing one that is for free, and you only are going to go ahead and select the free one, and then just leave the basics, leave everything as it is, like the presets, and then click on create deployment. So that's all you have to do. You just have to go to clusters over here, and then click on create in case you don't have one running, and then just leave the default configuration on, and click on create cluster, and it should take a moment to set up, just like 2 minutes or 1 minute depending on your internet connection, and then it should say that it should show this status thing over here that says that it is active. So if you already have a cluster running, which is by default cluster 0, because you already use MongoDB for any purpose, then you should be seeing something very similar to this, perhaps different graphs over here if you don't use it very often, and then it should say that it is also free because it's a free version. So once you are here, you will go to network access over here. So this on the sidebar, where the security part is, there is a section called network access. So you're going to go ahead and click on there, and in there you should only be seeing, if it is your first time using MongoDB, you should only be seeing one IP address. So that IP address is basically the address that you are currently located in. At least for me, I already configured it in a form that I can access it from any IP. So this one, so for example, if you have this IP, I think this is for a hackathon that I was, and I was making tests with it. So imagine this is your IP address, which is just a random one. Um, you should be seeing something very similar to this pop-up, but instead of saying add current IP address, it should say allow access from anywhere. So that message or that button, what it will basically do is that it would set up the access list entry of your IP to 0000. So that means that you can access your database from anywhere. And this is a common mistake with new hackers, specifically when they're in hackathons trying to set up MongoDB. Sometimes they get errors when perhaps like another hacker wants to access the database, or you want to access it from a different computer or a different location. Then you get errors because your MongoDB is only it's only configured for you to access it at this IP address. So any other IP address or port that is not this one will be denied access or connection to your MongoDB server. This is basically the default configuration for MongoDB because it wants you to protect your information and a lot of security concerns. So as right now, we don't care very much about the security aspect, as we are only trying to do a simple project that will be only for us. We will not be deploying that as a formal product or selling it to someone. Then we don't care much about that, and we can go ahead and just leave our IP address open to 000 port 0. which basically means that you can access it from anywhere. So make sure you have this IP address added, allow access from anywhere, and click on save and make sure it says active. It will take a while for it to be activated, and then you should get the green status. Awesome. So that's one thing, the network access. And then we actually have to connect to our cluster. So the cluster that we basically created, or that you already have, we will be accessing that. So to do that, let's go to clusters. So on clusters again, and you would see this button over here that says connect. So if we click on connect, you will get this large pop-up message that says connect to your application, access your data through tools, and a lot of different options that you can use if you are using your um, if you want to use a desktop app, or you already know how to use Mongo. There's also a desktop application for it to run locally on your computer. I use that for work. It's very helpful as well, instead of doing it on the browser. It is also valid. But right now, we are trying to connect through Python, right? So we will select the drivers option in here. So drivers, and I think as default, it should tell you that the driver is Python. So as we will be using Python, we care that in here it says Python, and version 4.7 or later. Or if you are using another one, then feel free to select another one. Honestly, it doesn't matter much. So don't worry. So after that, we have to do two additional steps. So the first one, we have to install the PyMongo module, and you can basically do that by running this command on your terminal on VS Code. So if you're a new hacker and you're wondering, okay, how do I do that? Where do I even paste this? So you're going to copy paste this command. You're going to go to your VS Code, and then once you're there on the terminal, if you don't have a terminal, then go ahead and click on terminal, new terminal. But if you do, then the terminal will pop up, and then you will just copy paste that on the terminal as it is like this, and click on enter, and it will start installing it. I already have it installed, so it says that it is already installed, requirement already satisfied. So I don't need it anymore. But for your case, if you haven't never used PyMongo, then it will start installing the PyMongo model. All right, so after doing this, which is just running a basic command on the terminal, we have to verify that we can actually connect to our MongoDB server. So to do that, there's two important things to know over here. So the first one is that this string that you are seeing over here, it's kind of like your secret string, and more formally, it's called a string URI. So URI, and that Mongo URI is basically a string that has all of your credentials and database access for you to connect to MongoDB through Python or through JavaScript, TypeScript, any language that you're basically using from your code editor. The different parts that are composed on this URI is your username, then your password, which is the password that you should set up once you create a new cluster. I think when you create a new cluster or a new user, it will ask you for a password if it is your first time logging into MongoDB. Don't worry if you don't remember that password, you can change it. I will show you how, because honestly, I change it every time I enter MongoDB because I'm just too lazy to remember my password or copy paste it anywhere. So I just generate a new one every time I want to use MongoDB from Python as well. So that's the password, and then you have your cluster URL, which is basically a specific identifier for your specific cluster. So right now, if you can see, my cluster name is cluster 0, and this is the specific identifier that tells MongoDB that it's mine. And then after that, this is just some configuration parameters that are there on the link. And if you can see here, it says replace DB password with the password for the Pollo Gumpao database user. And yes, this is my username. So that's in your case, it should place your username here. And I will show you how to change the password as well in case you don't remember or you want to generate a new one. All right, so this is the Mongo URI. You now know what that means. And when someone asks you how to connect to Mongo DB database, you know that the only thing that they need to have is this link to connect to your database. So after understanding that, you're going to toggle this button that says View Full Code Sample. And if you can see, this is just a simple code in Python for us to ping our deployment in MongoDB to check if it is running correctly. So let's go ahead and copy paste this code into our VS Code project. So I'll just create a new file that will be called Mongo test.py. And then I'll just copy paste that code over here. Awesome. And now that we copy paste this code, we need some things. We need the DB password, right? So let's go ahead and see how to change your password or how to fetch a new password from MongoDB. So after you copy pasted this sample script code on your VS Code in a new file, we will go back to MongoDB. And you're going to close this. We don't need this anymore. This is just, kind of like some examples of how to run your connect to your cluster. So you're going to go to database access. And on database access, you should only be seeing your user. So one single user, or if you have used MongoDB before, then you should be seeing more users in case you added more people to your database. So you're going to click on edit. And if you're seeing the authentication method, it's set by default in password. You can also use AWS to authenticate or a specific certificate. But the most easy one to set up is the password one. You should be seeing your username over here. Then you're going to click on edit password. And something that I like to do is that I always click on auto generate secure password, and it will generate me a new password. Go ahead and copy paste this before you save it, because then you won't be able to see it again unless you remember. So I'll copy paste that, and then you can also click on copy one. So after clicking on auto generate secure password and after copying it, you can go ahead down over here and click on update user. Make sure to always click on update user, because if you don't click on this button, then nothing will be changed, and then you will get authentication error, which is something that happens to me very often. So click on update user and then update this. And if you're seeing this message, it says we are deploying your changes, and it is still hasn't been deployed. So if I actually try to access my database with my new password right now, it won't work because it's still in progress. So right now the pop-up disappeared, which basically means that my user has already the password updated successfully. Okay, so after doing that, let's go ahead and copy paste the password on MongoDB. So over here, we're going to delete this thing that says DB password, and then just copy paste it over there. There we go. So we copy pasted our password over here where it said DB password. And then we can go ahead and test this code. And this will basically just return us a ping deployment. So if you can see on my terminal, it says pinged your deployment. You're successfully connected to MongoDB. So now I know that this URI that I'm using is working and that my instance is running successfully. And then if you go back to your MongoDB active chart where we were just some seconds ago over here in clusters, you can see if you refresh this, you would see something active, that it already had a spike or something. Honestly, I don't know how updated this is. As for time, 2:50 p.m. connections 3:5. There we go. So we're having some connections over there at 3:40. Yeah, so we have some connections over there to the database. So it basically means that it is being successfully working. All right. So after doing that, we now know that we can connect to MongoDB. Before continuing with now doing the coding part for our recommendation system and getting into the Streamlit part, if you have any questions or comments, this is the moment for me to answer those questions. Or also if you're having um, an issue on your project, then you can also let me know. I mean, it doesn't matter how simple or complex the issue is. I will always be very happy to help. We'll wait. Would wait a moment. So after this, we have to do our secrets file to store all of our credentials, basically. Then after that, we also have to perhaps add a description question on the Streamlit so people can be more descriptive as well. Then we have to generate embeddings, which that will be super simple, and then save responses to database. That will also be super straightforward. And finally, do the cosine similarity thing, which using this library, which is skitlearn from Python, it will be very direct. But I can also show you how to do it without the library as well. All right, so let's go ahead and start creating our secrets file. So to do that, as I already mentioned, we need to have this configuration folder, which is called .streamlit. So once you create your .streamlit folder, you need to create a file that's called secrets.toml. So over there, you're going to create these different fields. So open API key, the user for your database, the password for your database, and the URI URL. Honestly, these URI URL and user, they are not mandatory because you still need the password, which this one you actually need to have it in a secure location. But if you are too lazy and you don't want to add these ones as well, then just make sure to have the password one and copy paste in here your MongoDB password. So again, the MongoDB password is basically the one that we use on our URI. So yes, no worries over there. Okay, so let's start. Let's imagine that we want to do it the correct way, and we are super smart hackers, and we want to have the user, password, URI, URL on our URI link from MongoDB. So we will go ahead into the home file, which is a general file that we have where we have our questions. Actually, before we do that, let's actually run the app so you can see how it looks like. So to run your application, the command is streamlit run, and then the name of the script that you want to run. So the name of the script that I want to run right now, it's called home.py. So I would just run that. So let me. Oh, well, I wanted to write it on the chat. So Streamlit run home.py. Let's go ahead and click on that. Awesome. And I'm running out of battery. Let me connect my computer. Just give me a moment so I can charge my laptop because it's consuming a lot of energy right now with the stream. There we go. So now it's connected and we are ready to continue. Okay, so after running the application with the command that I was going to type you all, it's a streamlit run and then name of script.py. So that will be the name of your script, and you can type it in there so you can run it as well. Okay, so after doing that, you will see something very similar to this. If you basically copy pasted my code, you should be seeing this: hacker spirit plus Valentine's recommendation system, then the cute image, and then the formulary. You fill the questions below to get your techie match, and then the different questions that we have, a button that says submit, and we have a warning message because we haven't submitted the question, so it says please fill all of the question blanks. Common mistake: if you're not seeing um, this pink background, what you will have to do is click on the three dots over here and then click on settings, and then in here you should select custom theme. So instead of having light, dark, or use system setting, you're going to select custom theme, and there we go. You should be seeing the pink part. So okay, this is what your application should look like for now. So now let's go ahead and do the secrets part that I was mentioning, and I'm not very sure. There it is. Hmm. Now my bar for the Mac thing is, it's weird because I always run the streams from my Windows, which is usually my favorite thing to do. But now as I am in the university right now, I'm using my work laptop, and it's kind of funny, but it does the work. So I'm happy for that, and it's even a better computer than the Windows, but I'm more emotionally attached to the computer that I have at home. So yes. Okay, once you're on the main code, we're going to go ahead and import all of the variables that we will need. So by variables, I basically mean like the credentials that we need, that we want to add. We have a question before we proceed. Sorry, I wanted to comment earlier, but I wasn't logged in with Twitch. All right, I'm still having trouble connecting to MongoDB. Could it be because I don't have my own repository since I just cloned yours? Nope, it doesn't have to do anything with the repository. So what is the error message that you're getting when you run the Mongo test script? Is it something related to authentication? I will wait for that answer. In the meantime, okay, yes. So it says bad out. Yes. So that basically means related to your password. Yes, that's it. So that basically means that it has to do with your password. So make sure um, that you have this link copy pasted from your MongoDB console. So this will be your username, this will be your password, then this will be your cluster URL, and then this is something generic. And where do you get this link? So this link you basically get it from the MongoDB console. So let's go over here. So if you go to clusters and you click on connect, then you click on drivers, and then this is you should be seeing something like this. So this is the link that you want to copy paste. And instead of having this DB password over here, you want to replace this with your actual password. So if you don't know how to get your password, go ahead and click on database access. Once you're in database access, click on edit, and then over here click on edit password and just generate a new password, and make sure that you update the user. I did that. I created a new password as you suggested. All right, and you also clicked on update user. I'm imagining that. Also another question, on network access, do you have the 001, the 000 IP address? Because then that is also an important thing. Network access and the zero thing as well. Okay, so I will continue a bit. Okay, yes, then try adding the allow access from anywhere when you click on edit and the 000 IP. That must be it. And let me know if it works or if it doesn't, so we can help you as well. Okay, so we were on the home part, and we need to create all of the credentials that we need. So the first credential is basically the user. So to do that, we will use the secrets from Streamlit, because we want to access the secrets that we have on this file. So secrets, and then you basically do this, and then in here you paste the variable that you want to access from the secrets file. So in my case, my variable is called user in caps. And then after that, I will do the same for password, st.secrets, and then I'll just tap password, and then again, but for the URI URL. So URI URL, and then S3 secrets, and then instead of URI, I'll call it URI URL. There we go. So this is the first things that you should have, at least from the Streamlit side on the main page. And then also make sure to have these variables on your secrets file. So on your secrets file, you should have your user, your password, and your URI URL. So these are the things that you want to have over there. And remember, all of these you basically get it from the link. So from this link, this over here would be your URI URL from cluster up to .net. And then Pollo Gumpao, or your username, will be your username. And then what goes after the 2 points is your password. And your password, as I already did, sometimes is you generate it, or if you remember, from your MongoDB console. Okay. Awesome. So after doing that, we already have the credentials. Make sure to copy paste them on this file. And I will make a commit now so you can see the files that I added. But before I do the commit, make sure to add it to your git ignore file. So it will be secrets dot, oh, it's actually dot streamlit because that's the name of my directory. And then I want to ignore just the secrets dot toml. There we go. So now it is ignored, and now I can commit. Add it. Well, it's called constants for out in MongoDB. Let me commit that so you can see how they are in the GitHub as well. Okay. So after having these credentials, oh wait. Oh, I'm just getting the alert from Git Guardian. Yeah, because I basically posted this on my GitHub. Oh no, yes, I should have deleted that. I think I cannot. Can I undo last commit? Yes, I can. I will undo my last commit. Yeah, make sure not to post this. That was my bad, actually. Let me just leave in here as db password, and then just commit again. There we go. Oh, I have to do a rebase. Da-da-da. Don't mind me, I'm just fixing my errors because I basically posted my MongoDB password on GitHub, which is not something that you should do. And now I'm fixing a merge error from the last commit that I have with the new one. So I basically want to keep this one. So I'll just accept this change and then click on complete merge. Then just continue. There we go. So hopefully if I go to my, how do I say? So if I go to my GitHub, then it should be updated with the DB, with the correct DB password. There we go. So now it's okay now. Honestly, I don't care about the cluster being published. I only care about the password. We will see if it is running again, because at least for the OpenAI key, it gets deactivated. So funny thing from last stream, if you remember, I lended you all my OpenAI key, and then I was very forgetful that I forgot to delete the OpenAI key that I shared with you on stream. And the way that I remembered is that I got an email saying that someone leaked my OpenAI key. So that was funny. I laughed when I saw that. And then the key just got banned, and I had to create another one. I can still see it in the commit history. Oh, well, doesn't matter. I will change the password, and then that will be it. Yes, actually, let me do that because I actually have important. I mean, it's not important info. It's just like practice projects. That is not the important database. This is the one that I use for streams. So it doesn't matter if you connect to my database. Let me just change it, for security reasons and to show you good practice, good coding practices as well. So I just generate a new password, and I will just update user, and with that, you should be good to go. Now the password that is public on the GitHub will be deprecated, and that won't be useful for you at all. Awesome. So let me update my password over here and just paste it there. Nice. So now we're good to go. Um, I'm still struggling with the same error. I checked access points, yes, so the IP thing, and the password is correct. Is there anything I could have missed? So if you're still getting the bad out, are you in a university or a public network right now? Because then there are some Wi-Fi networks that actually block MongoDB requests. So then that's something. That's another error that you might be getting as well. Honestly, there's nothing you can do on your control if your university is blocking MongoDB. I mean, you can install a VPN, and so that's like side thing that you can do. Okay, so once you created the variables, then we can go ahead and declare the URI. So now we have a URI. And let me see if this is correct. A URI, retry true, my already named cluster. Yes, Copilot is correct. And let me deactivate Copilot because then this is not a hack with AI stream. This is a recommendation system. So we don't need Copilot. Disable competitions. There we go. And if we need Copilot, then we can just ask it on the chat as well. Also, another thing is that actually a friend told me that is that for me when Copilot came out for GitHub, I used it very often, and I just clicked on tab and tab and tab with almost all of the recommendations that Copilot gave me, at a point where I started thinking by myself, and I was expecting Copilot to know what I wanted to do. So that was a very bad month because I was just depending on Copilot to do the autocomplete. And then I talked with my friend, and he was like, Copilots can, if you use it like very often, like the tab part, like not the chat, because the chat you can use it to ask errors, and that's like super valid, and that's like something that it's very useful. So if you use the tab very often, then you will stop thinking by yourself, as I did, as it was my case. So now I just try to code by myself, try not to use the auto completions thing in the chat. I promoted 100% because it helps you debug in super cool ways that not even ChatGPT could help you. I mean, Copilot it's very helpful compared to ChatGPT just copy pasting the code. So yes, that's something. Okay, so after doing that, once that you have your URI and already formatted with your credentials, then we can start connecting to MongoDB. So the first step will be create a MongoDB connection. So to do that, it's very simple. I mean, you just need to set up your client. And for the client, we will need to import PyMongo. So import PyMongo. And this is basically the library that we installed at the beginning. So it's the one that you already did. In case you don't, just pip install PyMongo, or you can follow the command from the MongoDB console. So client, and then to do that, we're going to use PyMongo and then dot. And then in here, we want to create a Mongo client. So if you can see on the options that we already have Mongo client. And as you might be imagining, we have to pass on the authentication method. So the authentication method is a URI. So just placing the URI variable that we created earlier. So after doing that, we also have to select the DB that we want to create. It doesn't matter if you don't have a DB created. Mongo will create it. Will create the DB for itself as long as you set out a name. So for the DB, I will call it Valentine Deck. You can place any name that you want. This is just a name for your database. And then after that, we also have to specify the collection. So as I mentioned, in here we have two important concepts. So we have the DB, which is the database. It's a general thing that will store all of your collections, all of your documents, all of your data, basically. And then we have the collection. And the collection is basically kind of like a table, if you are familiar with SQL. So my collection, it doesn't matter as also what the name is. It will create a new collection if it doesn't have one. And my collection, I will call it responses because we will be getting responses from the Streamlit formulary. Feel free to name it whatever you want. I would recommend something similar to responses or answers or inputs, outputs, something related to that. So after you have the collection, this is basically it. That is all you need for authenticating with MongoDB. Then the next step that we will have to do is the OpenAI part. So let me just write the second step. So the second step will be out with OpenAI and generate embeddings. So as I mentioned, to generate your embeddings, you need a model or an embedding model. So to do that, you can use different ones. Most common ones are BERT. BERT is one of the common ones. You can find it on Hugging Face. It's also a super straightforward thing to learn. We also have the OpenAI one, which is the one that we will be using today, as it is also super helpful skill to know. The OpenAI console as well. So let me share the OpenAI key with you. And let me share it in the format as you would expect it to paste it on the secrets file. So make sure to add this OpenAI key on your secrets file so you can have your OpenAI access authenticated as well. Okay, so as you are imagining, we also need to install OpenAI, or we need to import OpenAI. So to do that, just do import OpenAI, and there we go. If you have never used OpenAI, then you would also have to run pip install OpenAI as well in the terminal. For me, it says requirement already satisfied because I already installed OpenAI previously. So just go ahead and install that as well. Awesome. So by this point, we have PyMongo, we have OpenAI, and now we have to authenticate with OpenAI. So to do that, we need to use OpenAI library, and then we're going to create the API key. So to do that, just do dot and then API key. If you can see, we have the different recommendations in here. So we're going to click on API key, and then this will be basically a constant. So to make our constant, we're going to use the similar technique to access our secrets. So to access our secrets file, just st.secrets, and then in here we're going to paste the name of our constant that has the OpenAI API key, which is basically the one that I shared with you on the chat. So there we go. This is all we need to authenticate with OpenAI, and we should be good to go. So I'm going to change this out with OpenAI, and then we will do the embeddings after this. So this is what we have: the title, divider, image, subheader. Let me post this on the GitHub. Let me post this on the GitHub so you can see it as well, the content that we were adding. All right. So once that we have that, I will add 2 more questions to our formulary. And if you have question recommendations that I should add in these forms, then please let me know in the chat while I'm adding the new ones. So I'll add the name. Well, I'll call it hacker name. You can use Discord username or name, whatever you prefer to input, and then I'll just type in um, description, hacker description, because I want to have a part where the hacker can write not a long section, but at least like some sentences, so the embeddings will be more will take more advantage of the embeddings rather than just some responses. So I'll call this hacker description, and this will be st dot. Let's see if there's something like text area. So we will use text area for this one, so it's a longer input, and then give us a short description about yourself, excluding your name. There we go. Awesome. So I added two new questions, and if you have more question recommendations that you would like me to add to our recommendation system or matching system, drop them on the chat and I will be adding them. It doesn't matter if you do that now or later. We can always add new questions. Just make sure to send it before we actually make the first submission to MongoDB, because then that would make our database weird, because one will have more fields and the other one will have less fields. So yes, just keep that in mind. I will be very happy to add any question that you have to recommend. If you don't, then these ones are kind of enough. I mean, they're few, so that will make it like some more forms to do. Okay, so now in here, let's make some space. So in here, now we will do the first step in our process. So the first step in our process, if we go back to the slides presentation, do I actually have it open? Oh, I closed it. So let me open the slides again, just to show you where we are in the process. So over here, right now we are basically fetching this from the user. So the questions are basically this, and the step that we are doing right now, it's using an embedding model. So this section over here of this yellow square. So let's go ahead and do that, and we have a recommendation, a favorite pizza topping. So let's add favorite pizza topping and st.text input. What is your favorite pizza topping? Also, chocolate is valid. That's just for the hahas. Awesome. Okay, so as I was mentioning, right now we will be proceeding with the first step of our recommendation system, which is the embeddings. So for that, we will do methods for everything. And let me think. No, let's just do it in the general script, and then we can do it more modular if we have time. So we will create a function in Python, and it will be called get embeddings or get embedding, whichever you like. So get embedding, and we will be passing on, well, some text or a variable, something called text, because in there we will be basically passing to that function all of our responses. So all the hacker responses will go through that function, so they can be converted into embeddings. So after doing that, we need to make the interaction with OpenAI. So before I write this code, because I kind of remember by memory, but I want to verify, I will show you where can you get that example code to generate your embeddings. So at this point, we only created the function definition. So now let's go and actually find where can we get our embedding model. So to do that, we will go ahead and enter OpenAI platform for the API. Let's go to API login. Then here we are. This is the development platform for OpenAI. If you are familiar with it, or if this is just your first time seeing it, it has plenty of things that you can do over here. Right now, we're only focused on the embeddings. There we go. So just search for vector embeddings. Very straightforward. Let's go down, and here we go. So we have a simple example in here. Honestly, the only thing that we want is this. But I don't want to use this embedding model. I want to use the one that it's called ADA. Here we have the differences in between each model. So this is the one that OpenAI recommends, and this is the one that I want to use. Honestly, I don't know why I love this one so much. I think because it's the one that I know by memory, and it's the one that I started using. But then I'm seeing that this one has a better performance, so probably we can try with this one and then change it to this one. Let's see. Denoted by -3 in the model ID, red embeddings, usage is price per input token, max input, pages per dollar. So what's the difference? I mean, I I generally want to know if there's a difference between the vector sizes, because in here it's just like the performance, and oh, it's more expensive, pages per dollar. I see. So this is like cheaper one, and this one is like a medium one. And this one is like the more expensive one. Makes sense. So let's just use this one because it's the one that I'm most familiar with. Feel free to experiment with the other ones as well. But as I mentioned, this is what we care about. So let's just copy paste this, the response. And this is very simple. I mean, it's very straightforward. We just have the response and we are generating our embeddings. We just have to place our input that we want to generate embeddings from, and then the model name. So to make it more function styled, let's just paste the code over here. And we have to change some things. So for instance, instead of having this string, like your text string goes here, if you're imagining, we have to replace this with the text variable that we have over there, right? And after that, we can change the model name. Right now it has the embedding tree small. I'm going to change it for the other model name, which is the ADA one. So let me just copy paste this one over here. And then in here, we will have to return a question, the response. So instead of having the print thing, let's make that a return statement. So let's change this and delete the parentheses and then just do return. And there we go. So now we have a complete a nice function, and this is actually not there we go. So now it's in the correct format. So this will be our step 3, which is generate embeddings from OpenAI model. Oh, we have a questions. Anyone's video quality above 720? I actually yes, it has happened to me that before. When I use this computer and I share screen, they have told me that it's laggy sometimes, that it looks like very bad. Um, I don't know what I can do. Let me see if there's something that says like uh, mic mode. Hmm. I think it's from Twitch. Not very sure. Honestly, I would blame my computer more than Twitch. But there's not much I can do. If you want me to make my screen bigger, I don't know if that would help as well. I can do that as well. Make my screen bigger. Let us do that actually. Now it's like super big. Hopefully this will help you see it a lot clearer. Okay, so this is the step 3, which is generate our embeddings, and in here we're basically returning the response for our embedding. And if you saw, I only obtained this code from OpenAI API documentation. So this is just like the super simple example. I just generated this as a function. I changed the model. I replaced this with my text variable, and then instead of printing, I am returning the response. So that's all. We now have the embeddings. So the step 4 will be to save our responses in MongoDB. So save our responses in MongoDB. So to do that, we need to um, do like how can I call this? So we're basically going to have two fields in our response that we will be uploading to MongoDB. So we will have the responses, which is like the regular string style text. So like the favorite name, favorite snack, favorite keyboard, all of that. And then on the other field, we will have another field called embedding. And then on the embedding, we're going to post embeddings, but we're going to paste them in binary form. We want them to be in binary encryption, not because it's safer. Honestly, I'm not focusing on that. I'm focusing on making it be less, take less space. Because if I would go ahead and just upload all of the embeddings, then that would be like a lot of arrays and a lot of numbers, and that would take a lot of space. So a smart move in here, and that is actually a little bit more advanced than just uploading the embedding just like it is. It's doing this binary encoding. So we only encode a binary format, then we place it on a pickle file, and then that pickle file we can decode it and get our embeddings when we are working with it to make the match. So I will show you how to do that. Honestly, it's very simple. We're just going to use a library that helps us to do that. So the libraries that we will be using, we need at least for the PyMongo one, we already have that one. We already have the OpenAI one. We're going to need a one that's called Pickle, which is for pickle files, if you're familiar with them. They're just specific files. They're most commonly known in machine learning for storing like your models, and so you can run them very easily in Python. You can research more about these types of files. They're pretty cool, and they're also called pickle. So I don't know if that has to do with something. Honestly, I would be very interested in knowing why it's called pickle files. So yes. And then we're also going to use from another library that's called Bison, which is very similar to JSON, but it's a very specific type of file that MongoDB handles. And if you go to MongoDB documentation, you would see this word a lot. And that's just basically, it's a similar format than to JSON. So we're using the binary one, and then we want to import the binary encoding because we want to use this one as well. And I think we can see it. So representation of Bison binary data. So we want to represent Python scripts as the Bison string type. We need to wrap binary data so that we can tell the difference between what should be considered binary data and what should be considered string when we encode to Bison. So that's all. And you can see the library over here. It's pretty cool. I always like to see the class definitions because it helps me to remember what I'm doing with them. Okay, so now that we have those dependencies, we will go ahead and start creating our response, which is the one that we will be uploading into MongoDB. So to save our responses, we will create another function, and this one we will call it save response save response, just like that. Save response. That's totally valid. So save response, and we will pass on two things. So we will pass on our actual response, and then we will also be passing our embedding. There we go. This will be a function, and then over here we need to create a variable, and this variable will be basically kind of like a JSON format style. So we will call it result, and that variable will have we'll use different MongoDB methods. So the first one, if you remember, we already created our collection over here that's called responses. So let's go ahead and access this collection. And to access that, we will just place collection, then dot. And then in there, you will see different options that you can do. You can use aggregate, you can use create index, you can use delete one. And the one that we will be using is we want to insert. So we're going to click on insert one because we only want to insert one at a time. And why do we want that? Because I mean, you're one user. We will only have one user submit at a time from our platform. So it doesn't matter. We want the insert one function. And then after doing that, we will generate our JSON document that we want to upload. So we want it to be called responses, and then under responses part, we're going to include the responses. That's all. Then a comma. Oh, it's actually called response, and then the second one will be called embedding, and then in here it's where the how do I say, the binary format uh, part comes in, because we want to access the binary library, and then all of the information that we place inside of this class, it will be converted to binary. So just as when you do, like, for example, you do like int, and then the thing that's inside is converted into an int, it's the same, but with the binary thing. So inside of here, we will use the pickle library. So pickle, which we already imported. And then in here, we have different things that we can do. In this case, we will use the DOMS one. And we can also, see what this is. So DOMS, and it's basically to adding the value. When you can also upload, like pickle loads, it's to upload the file, but we want to create one, so it's DOMS. And then what we will be passing on is the embedding, because it's the thing that we want to convert in binary, and we want to add it into a pickle format. And yes, it is like a pickle. That is that I like the name. It sounds very I think most libraries in Python have very clever names. I don't know why. They have very, very curious names, if you would like to see it like that. Okay, so now that we generated our JSON format style that we will be uploading our values to the database, we want to return something very specific. So we want to return the ID of the how do I say, of the person that just filled out the formulary. And this is actually something that happens very often, is that if you don't use that ID, if you don't return that specific ID, then you will get matched with yourself when you finish filling out the formulary, because the algorithm won't know that you actually filled the formulary, so it would just match you with yourself, because, well, you are the perfect match for yourself, because you did exactly the same responses. So to avoid that, in here we're going to return from the result, we're going to access a very specific field that it's called inserted ID. So that's a specific field from Mongo that's called inserted ID, and we can print this later if you want, so you can see that it's just a specific identifier for each person that interacts with our application. Okay, let me MongoDB methods and embedding. Let me upload these to GitHub in case you want to see it. If you're following better with the GitHub, because perhaps the screen is not very fresh. I already uploaded it to GitHub if you want to see the complete code over there. Okay, so right now, this will successfully save our responses into MongoDB, and that's awesome. And now the cool part, for the matching part now, um, we will use sklearn to import the cosine similarity function. So we just use the cosine similarity. So before we do that, let's actually import the library, and then let's go ahead and search it online as well. So from sklearn, we want to import cosine similarity. Oh, I think we have to use sklearn dot metric. Yes, metrics dot, I think, classification pairwise. I think it's, oh, there it is, pairwise, because it's two things. And then I think we can now import cosine similarity. There we go. I gotta leave now, but I'm so invested in this idea. This is such a wonderful actionable project. I will definitely complete the recording later. Awesome. And also make sure to fill the form so we can see the matches that we have between hackers and techies. Yes, no worries. Everything is recorded. So feel free, and good luck. Pairwise. Yes, just found it. Thank you very much for that. Sometimes I forget. So sklearn, metrics, pairwise, and then cosine similarity, because this is the one that we are going to be using as our mathematical formula. So now that we have this library ready to go, we can now use this function, and we have to pass on two vectors as we saw on the presentation earlier. So this basically does this. So this is what we're looking for to do. So let's go and finish that, and we're almost done. So we can also finish this. So we will call it find match. And then what we will be passing is that we're going to pass two things. We want the current user ID, because we want to ignore ourselves. And then we also want the current embedding, or embedding, you can call it whatever you wish. And then inside of there, we want to fetch all of the things that we have in MongoDB. So all responses, and that will be we want it to be in a list format. And then we want to find everything that we have in our collection. So collection.find. And I don't know if it's a function. Yeah, it's a function. So collection.find, and we already have all of our responses. And then we will create an array that will be called similarities. And over here, we will be basically storing the person that we got matched with, or like the similarities that we have. So now that we have that, we are ready to actually, I wouldn't say iterate, but yes, it's basically iterating, because we will be using a for loop. So we will need to iterate over each document in our collection. So to do that, let's just do for every document in all of the responses that we have. And we want to check something very specific. So we want to check that if the document, the specific field that it's called ID, and this is very specific, I'm not inventing this. This is actually how MongoDB stores their object IDs. The field is basically called _ID, and I can show you this later if you want. It's equal to the current user ID. So this basically means that if we are not ourselves filling out the form, then we will continue. Why am I doing this? Because I don't want to get matched with myself. I want to get matched with someone else. So that's why we need to make this verification first. So after checking that it is not the same, we need to create another one that will be called stored embedding, or current embedding as well. And then in there, we will be basically we will be loading now our pickle file. So as I mentioned, to create it, you can use the dumps one, and to load it, because we now want to access it, we can use the loads one. And what we're going to load is the specific document where we have the embeddings field. So we're going to be accessing the specific field that it's called embeddings, or this one. I think it's called embedding. Yes, so embedding, which is the one that we basically fetched earlier. So that's just it, getting the same field that we're having. And then after that, we now are ready to use our cosine similarity function. So I'm going to show you how to do that, and you can also check it up in the same function. If we visit this, you will check that we need to pass on different parameters like an x and y, and here it has the formula that I showed you earlier, which is basically dot product and the magnitude of the dot product of both vectors. And then we have the parameters x array like sparse matrix, and then y, which is also a matrix. And then we have another identifiers that we will not be focusing on that. And then we can see in here what it will return. So it will return a similarity, returns cosine similarity between samples in x and y. There we go. So that's the function. If you want to see it and explore it, more of the maths behind it, we will only be calling the function, so we don't have to worry about the maths. But it's there in case you want to visit it. So now we will create a similarity variable. Well, we will store the score, and we will use the function that we loaded from the sklearn library. So for this, we're going to pass on the first thing, which is the current embedding. So it's the first one, and we need to pass this as the parameter mentioned, so as an array. And then we're also going to pass on the stored embedding, and the stored embedding is basically the one that we recently loaded. So a stored embedding. There we go. And then after that, we're just going to pass on that it will have dimensions of 0, 0, which is kind of like the last input. So it would just be 0 and then another 0. There we go. And that's it. Honestly, this line of code is kind of like the most important one in our code, because it's where we are actually computing the difference between our two vectors. And our two vectors, x and y, it's current embedding and the stored embedding. So once that we have our similarities, we need to add those similarities into our MongoDB. So to do that, we can use the append and then use call the similarity again, and then just pass on the document where we have the embeddings, or well, the responses, if you would like to see it differently. There we go. So this is basically it. I would say this is the heart of our code, which is kind of like the most important thing that we need to have, because it's where we are actually making the math calculation for our similar things that we will be using. So after that, we want to sort our similarities, because if you see over here, similarities is an array, but the similarities array will just have like different scores depending on how the collection is it was stored in which order, and we want to order them having the highest similarities first. So to do that, we can just use the dot sort function, but we will make this sort having it reverse true. And if you're familiar with sorting algorithms, you would know that there are different ways that we can iterate over an array to sort it, and they have different how do they call run times, and some are faster than other. For now, I don't care that my algorithm is optimal or not. I'm just going to use the sort function from Python, which is very helpful, and I'm just going to sort it using a lambda. Honestly, this is something that I kind of like learned by memory, especially for how do you call these things, the things that we all avoid, the lead code questions for the big tech companies, where you actually have to learn these things and now know the time complexity for your algorithms, and make them like super specific ones. What else? We also have to import this as well, the numpy, because we are positional argument. Why am I getting that? Probably I missed something. Well, I will deal with that later. I will search it online if I don't remember how to do it. Um, yes, and our final step will be to return the similarities that we have in our sorted array. So to do that, if it is 2D, so we want to have 0, and then we also want to access the first one because we want the similarities, and if we have similarities, and if not, then we will just return no. None. Line 67 should be lambda. Yes, that's also true. And then someone mentioned, I think there shouldn't be a comma after the. Oh, that's right. Oh, and I also missed a D. There we go. Thank you very much for helping me over there. I definitely missed that D. It was just lambda instead of lambda. Awesome. Now everything's looking nice, and in here I will be returning my similarities, and I will also be printing them if you would like to see them as well. Awesome. So let me just add the step 5 over here. So step 5 will be find a match using cosine similarity math formula. And let me update this. Added a find match function. So you can all see that code as well in the GitHub. Awesome. So after that, we can now go ahead and get and use all of the methods that we created. So right now we were just basically creating different methods over and over. But now it's time to use them. Now it's time to actually put them into practice. So in here, if you remember from last session, I left this comment that said recommendation function because in here, once we click on submit, we will be performing all of the functions that we basically created. So we're going to be using the embeddings one, the MongoDB one, and also the get match. So to do that, let's go ahead and delete this comment because we already know that we had to add it there. And first, we can do several things here. We can check if the fields actually have something before they are submitted, which is kind of like the nice practice. So for that, I'm actually going to activate Copilot because um, I don't want to be remembering all of the fields that I created. Why is this? There we go. So I want to check if all of my fields have something. So let's start with the first one, which is hacker name and come on, Copilot. And favorite coffee. Oh, it's not enabled. Enable competitions. There we go. Because I don't want to type all of the fields. What's the next one? Favorite coffee. Oh, no, I don't like this. Let me do the tab and then just delete this. Yep, because I just wanted to do all of this. I don't want it to type all of that. So now let's disable it again. Disable competitions, and let's go ahead with our regular coding. So now that I know that the fields have something, then I'm going to combine all of my answers into one single string or JSON format variable. So I'm going to call it response, and then I'm just going to create that JSON document. To do that, again, this is something kind of like tiring to do because then I just have to type all of these hacker name and then favorite coffee and blah 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 and all of that. And how much time do we have left? We have 15 minutes ish. So let me use Copilot again so we can finish faster. Yeah, honestly, this is a good use of Copilot. Like, typing like hard coded fields. We are not very. We don't want to do that all by ourselves. So let's just do that. Super easy. Favorite snack, favorite browser, favorite pizza topping, and the description one. Huh. There we go. Hacker description. Awesome. Let's disable competitions. Now we have our all of our questions. We now have them in a single document or in a single JSON. So now we are going to generate the embeddings. So let's make a comment in here. Generate embeddings. And to do that, we're just going to do responses, text. And let's just use the function that we created. So basically, the function that we created is the current, no, the get embedding. Was it called get embedding? Yes, get embedding. So get embedding. Wait, but then we will have to add this with the embedding. First we have to join all of the answers, separate them each one because then they will all be like in the same line, and we don't want that to happen because then our embeddings will be messed up. So we're going to add a space before them. I don't know if this is like 100% true, but just to be safe and not like screw up all of our all of our embeddings when we are testing it out. Let's just do that to be safe for all. Is it volume? Oh, values. There we go. Awesome. And now we can generate the embeddings, actual embedding, and now we can pass on the get embedding and then pass on the responses text. Great. So that will be the first step. And now we have to save our responses into the MongoDB so we can have both things in MongoDB. So we can have like we can have like the values, and we can also have the embeddings. So to do that, let's add to MongoDB, and let's just call it. We need to fetch the current user ID because it is the identifier that we have, and we're going to use our method that it's called save response, or it's not save response. Is that it? Yes, save response, and this receives the response plus the embedding. So we already have both of them. So we have the actual embedding and the responses text. So we don't need the responses text. We can use the regular response from here, and then just pass on the actual embedding. There we go. So now we added both things to MongoDB. And what's next? It's to find the match. So find match. So to do that, let's create a variable called match, because in here we will store the match and use our method that's called find match. And we need to pass on two things. So we need to pass on the current user ID and the current embedding. So current user ID, and then the actual embedding, which is, I can call it also current embedding, actual embedding. We understand that, honestly. Great. So after doing that, then we need to do another extra verification over there, which will be basically to check the top match, which will be like the first match that we have. So if we have a match, also if there's like an answer in there, we want to find the top match. So to find the top match, we can have a top match and also top response, because we also want to know what the person answered, to make it more similar. And then that will be just an array with the first one. There we go. And once that we do that, we know that the first element of our match array will be like the stored, like the greatest response, because we sorted our array in reverse order, which means like the greater responses will be at the beginning, so position number 1. So once that's done, let's display a success message in Streamlit that says match found, and that's like super cool. And then we will add just the match that we found. So to do that, let's add this in this format, and then let's add it as match. And I think we need to format this. There we go. And we also there we go. So that will display the match that you have. And then in case there's not a match, so the case that there's not a match is that you are the first person or the second person that basically added information to the database. So this will be a warning, and we will add it. You are the first person to be added, and then to be added to the system. So then that would mean that you don't have a match, and you need to wait for someone else. You need to wait for someone else to fill in the formulary. There we go. And honestly, that's all. I think we are ready to test it out. And let me push this into GitHub. So added function. There we go. So let's test this out. Let's run the code again, the Streamlit application. And I already uploaded all of the recent changes into GitHub in case you want to see it. So it's Streamlit run home.py. There we go. So let me fill this actually with my information. So we have like someone in the database. So what is your Discord username? Well, you all know I'm what is your name or Discord username? I'm just going to place my name because you all know my Discord username. What's your favorite drink to order at a coffee shop? Latte with, well, it's a called a latte with Splenda and vanilla. What is your keycap? What is your favorite keycap for mechanical keyboard? It's a red cherry clicky. What is your favorite programming language? I think right now it's Python. It's the one that I use the most. What is your favorite code editor? VS Code. What is your favorite snack? Too much while coding. Hmm. I would say cereal. Favorite browser? I use Brave. And then favorite pizza topping? Italian meat. Give us a short description about yourself, excluding your name. So I study robotics. I'm a second year university student based in Mexico. I like others and plushies in general. Love salsa dancing or any dancing in general. There it is. Let me submit this. Oop. Collection object is not callable. Did you mean to call the create method on a database object failing? Oh, now I don't want to um, answer the form again when I actually fix this error. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. It says line 82. Is it for the embeddings? Get embedding. Collection object is not callable. You mean call the create method on that? I think it has to do with the MongoDB thing. Let's go ahead and check this. Collection, is it? I think it's probably that. Collection DB responses. OpenAI API key. What line was it? 88 or 42? So 88. Actual embedding. So it's something with the OpenAI thing. Because it's the 88 and 42 where we have our embeddings thing. There we go. It's probably has to do with this. Let's see. Let's see what's wrong there. So response data, and then we have the embedding. We have the model, which is text embedding at a 02. Input, we have our text, a response. Oh, here we have the error. This should be OpenAI because we didn't create a specific client. We just created, we just imported the OpenAI model directly. Yes, so I will upload the changes on the error on the GitHub. So fix error OpenAI. So the only thing that I did is change the client thing to be OpenAI over here. That's all. The errors are already fixed on the GitHub as well. So let's submit this. Hopefully it doesn't delete. Oh, so now I'm getting about authentication. Let's see. Probably related to my password. Did I save that correctly? I think I didn't save the password. So let me just edit this. Auto generate secure password. Copy. Update user. We are deploying your changes. There it is. Let me just wait for this to finish. And let me check if there's a stream after mine, because then I have to wrap up now. Where's the Global Hack Week schedule? Well, first let me copy paste the password. Password. There we go. Then if it's not that, I check if this one is the correct one. Let's try again now. submit. There we go. So yep, it was the password. And if you are seeing, I'm the first person to submit. So it says you are the first person to be added to the system. So what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to deploy this so you can all access this form and we can basically use it for fun. And you can also follow along if you want to deploy your application. So important thing, let's create a requirements file. And let's add all of the dependencies. So we have OpenAI, we have PyMongo, then we also have, I think, sklearn and Pickle. I think we don't need it. So let's see. So we have Pickle and sklearn. Bison, I don't think we need that as well. No, that's from C, so we don't need that. Okay, there we go. So let me add the requirements. So added dependency. And all you need to have, it's your requirements file ready with all of the libraries that we use, your .streamlit folder, and also the secrets file over here, because we will be basically copy pasting this into our Streamlit dashboard in a few moments. So let me just check if there's a stream after mine, because then I will have to wrap up and then just share with you. Oh, why is this like in GMT and then this is in CST? Oh, so I think there's still 1 more hour for the next stream. So I will take up 10 more minutes so we can deploy our app. So a Streamlit Cloud, it's where you will be basically deploying all your applications. So here we go, Streamlit Cloud. And then you're going to go to, where it is, the sign in part. Join Community Cloud, is that it? There we go. So right now I'm already logged in, and that's why it's basically I already have applications. In everyone's case, click on Create App, deploy a public app from GitHub, and then in here you will be pasting the GitHub repository of your own. Don't do mine, because then you won't be able to deploy it, because it would tell you that you are not like the actual user. So let me just copy paste my repository, my link repository on the Streamlit file. Super quickly. There we go, Valentine's Tech. And then the main file path is called MongoDB. The app URL, I want to call it Valentine's Tech. And then on advanced settings, I'm going to click on advanced settings, and let me make this bigger. Advanced settings, and then on the secrets over here, I'm going to basically, oh, this is not it. And then I'm going to paste my credentials. Click on save and deploy. Now it's deploying, and let's see if there's an error. We will see a display on the console over here. Let me make this bigger. There we go. Yep, so we got an error. Let's see what it says. Let's see. Could not find a version. Satisfy the requirement pickle. That's probably because that's not even a thing. So let's delete the pickle from our requirements and then just update again. So a cool thing about deploying with the Streamlit is that each commit that you make to your application or your repository, it will automatically update your deployment. So right now you can see that it is updating, and I didn't do anything. Like I just pushed commits. So that's why it's working over there. Oh, there was another error. Oh, the sklearn. Honestly, I have never used sklearn. There it is. This is the correct one. So let me copy paste this. And honestly, the error messages are very straightforward. Like I'm just debugging right now my application really quickly. in help with the Mongo DB console as well. There it is. So now it's updating. Oh, I'm getting another error. Why? Command not found. Now that's a weird one. We're installed from error restarting Streamlit, not running. You know what I'm thinking? As this is my work computer, sometimes they block like the most random things. If this doesn't work, then I'll probably have to deploy it from someone else's computer, but not right now. I mean, after the stream. I mean, I will do the redeploy to check if it's something. Oh, there it is. So apparently, it was just a random thing. I just had to reboot the app. So now it's working. Let me share this link with you on the chat. But first, let me check if everything is. Well, let me share it and you can tell me if it's working by yourself or not. And let's check the responses that we have over here to see if they're actually being inserted into our database, like the one that I just did. So let's see, browse collections. Valentine's tech. There we go. Responses. Yeah, and we have mine. So this is mine. Responses, and there we go. And then if you can see the embedding, it's encrypted or encoded in binary format. So now we only have like this, and it's like super short. No need to have like a lot of arrays going on in there. So yes, honestly, feel free to fill out this form, and so we can see if the math formula is actually working. So when perhaps I fill it up again, I will get a match with someone. So yes, please go ahead and fill it if you want. If you don't want, that's also valid. I mean, we're just doing this for fun. How did you fix the bad out error you got in the end when you deployed locally? So I just updated my password. Apparently my password was not working, so I just updated the password again. Like I generated a new password. I clicked on save the user, and then I just added the new password on the secrets over here. Yes. So I think it's time to wrap up. I already took 4 more minutes of your time. So yes, I mean you have the link over there. I would be on the Discord actively if you want to share your responses. It would be very nice to have some friend matches in our cute dashboard. Let me update this on the GitHub repository so you can all access it. The link more directly from here on your website. There we go. Awesome, awesome. So I think we're ready to wrap up. But before we leave, um, let me just share something very important with you, which is something really new that's been going out, the feedback form for Global Hack Week. Where is it? Give me a moment so I can just find it. So this is something pretty new. It's basically some feedback on our Global Hack Week streams as well as the mini events. If you have any feedback, any things that I did good, things that we didn't do good, recommendations, comments, anything that you want us to know, please fill it out in the form that I will be dropping on the chat in a second. There we go. So this one over here, you can go ahead and fill out the feedback form. We will be very more than appreciated to receive your feedback. And also, don't forget to checking into the stream to get your points. I will share that link as well. Events mlh.io. There we go. So this is for the feedback. In case you want to tell us how we did, we will be very much appreciating that. And then this is for the checking, so you can get your points and your swag if you are eligible for it. Great. So if we don't have any more questions or comments from hackers, we can rest a little bit before we actually go to another stream. Okay, we have a question here. Can you please show how you structured URI URL in secrets, Tom? Yes, of course. Let me just um, where was the screen? There it is. Here it is. So we have user, password, and URI URL. Great. Awesome. So as you all know, just general things, I will be changing the MongoDB password um, after a few days before you get to test out the application. I will also be removing the API key access in a few days after you all got the chance to insert your formulary responses into the platform. And we will see which matches we get. Hopefully, we get some fun things over there, some nice hacker matches. Let me know if you have any questions right now, or you can also pick me in Discord. I'm very happy to help you out. If you want to continue with your project, or you want to deploy your own project in Streamlit, or you want to create another recommendation system, perhaps for movies or friends, whatever you want, you can always let me know on the Discord, and I will be very, very happy to help you. So thank you very much, and I will see you, I guess, until the next Global Hack Week that will be going on. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for assisting. Make sure to fill out the feedback form, and if you have any more questions, you can let me know as well on the Discord. Bye, everyone.
Lonely